Let me ask you something. If the market dropped 30% the day after you retired, would your income stop? For millions of Americans, the honest answer is yes. And that's exactly the kind of risk that keeps pre retirees up at night. You've spent decades building your nest egg. You've done everything you were told to do. And now, just as you're getting close to the finish line, the economy feels more unpredictable than ever. Inflation, market swings, rising healthcare costs, interest rates that nobody can seem to agree on, and a financial media that seems to thrive on making everything feel like a crisis. Here's what I want you to know today. Uncertainty is not new, but there is a right way and a wrong way to structure your retirement income, and the difference between the two can determine whether you spend your retirement feeling financially secure or financially anxious every single time the market moves. Today, I'm going to show you how to build a retirement income plan that holds up no matter what the economy does. Let's start with the truth about how most people have been taught to plan for retirement. The traditional approach goes something like this. Save as much as you can in your 401k or IRA. Retire with a big enough balance. Withdraw about 4% per year and hope the market cooperates. That strategy was built on assumptions that no longer hold up the way they once did. And in an uncertain economy, it has three serious vulnerabilities. The first is what's called the 4% rule. This guideline came from research done in the 1990s, a very different market environment than what we're living in today. It was never meant to be a guaranteed formula. It was a starting estimate. And for many retirees today, relying on it blindly is a risk they cannot afford. The second vulnerability is something called sequence of returns risk. Here's how it works in plain English. If the market drops significantly in the early years of your retirement while you're pulling money out of your portfolio to pay bills, you lock in those losses permanently. Even if the market fully recovers, your account may not, because you are selling shares at the worst possible time. Let me put it this way. A down market at 45 is an inconvenience. A down market at 65 while you're making withdrawals can be devastating. The third vulnerability is inflation erosion. A retirement income that feels comfortable today may feel very tight 10 or 15 years from now if it has no built-in growth or inflation protection. And with people living well into their 80s and 90s, that's a very real risk. Here's the bottom line. The problem is not that retirees have the wrong attitude about money. The problem is that they have the wrong structure. And structure is everything. So, what is the right structure? It starts with something called an income floor. The income floor is a simple but powerful concept. Before anything else, your first job in retirement is to make sure that your essential, non-negotiable monthly expenses, your housing, your food, your utilities, your insurance, your health care, are covered by guaranteed, predictable income that does not depend on the stock market. Think of it this way. If your basic expenses are already covered by guaranteed income sources, a market drop becomes an inconvenience, not a catastrophe. You don't have to touch your investments to keep the lights on. So what goes into a strong income floor? Three things. The first is Social Security, but optimized, not just claimed. The age you claim Social Security has a dramatic impact on your lifetime income. Claiming too early can permanently reduce your monthly benefit. For couples, coordinating spousal benefits can add tens of thousands of dollars in lifetime guaranteed income. In an uncertain economy, a larger permanent Social Security check is one of the most valuable retirement assets you have. And it's one many people leave on the table without realizing it. The second is a pension, if you have one. Fewer workers have pensions today, but if you do, that guaranteed monthly income is a foundational floor asset. The third, and this is where I work with many of my clients, is a fixed indexed annuity with an income rider. Let me explain this simply. A fixed indexed annuity, or FIA, is an insurance product that protects your principal from market losses. Your money is not invested in the market. It is credited based on the performance of a market index, like the S&P 500, but with a floor of 0. That means in a bad market year, you don't lose. You simply earn nothing that year, but you do not go backwards. Now, when you add an income rider, specifically what is called a guaranteed lifetime withdrawal benefit, or GLWB, the annuity generates a predictable income stream you cannot outlive. Even if your account value eventually goes to 0, the income payments keep coming for as long as you live. And during the years before you turn the income on, your benefit base can grow at a guaranteed roll-up rate, often 6, 7, or even 8% per year, regardless of what the market does. That is your future income base growing on a schedule. Here's the key takeaway. Once your income floor is in place, once your essential expenses are covered by guaranteed sources, the rest of your portfolio can be invested for growth because you're no longer dependent on it for survival income. You can afford to be patient with your investments because your bills are already paid. Now, I want to talk about 2 risks that most retirement planning conversations completely ignore, and they can cost retirees thousands of dollars a year if they're not addressed. The first is IRMA, the income-related monthly adjustment amount. Here's what that means in plain English. Medicare is not a flat fee for everyone. Your Medicare Part B and Part D premiums are based on your income. Specifically, they are based on your modified adjusted gross income, or modified AGI, from 2 years ago. If your income crosses certain thresholds, you pay significantly higher Medicare premiums. We are talking hundreds of dollars per month more, sometimes over $1,000 per year in extra premiums just because your income went over a line. And here is where retirees get blindsided. A large required minimum distribution, a Roth conversion that was not carefully timed, a big year of investment income. Any of those can push you into a higher IRMA bracket without warning. Strategic income planning, thinking carefully about how much income you show in any given year and where it comes from, can keep your Medicare costs under control. The second overlooked risk is Social Security taxation. Most people are surprised to learn this. Up to 85% of your Social Security benefits can be subject to federal income tax. The calculation is based on what's called your provisional income, which includes your adjusted gross income, any tax-exempt interest, and half of your Social Security benefit. What trips people up is that even income that feels tax-friendly, like interest from municipal bonds, counts toward that provisional income calculation. If you're not careful about how your retirement income is structured, you can end up paying tax on income you thought was tax-free. The good news is that a properly structured income plan, one that uses FIA income strategically, incorporates Roth assets, and manages the timing of distributions, can significantly reduce or even eliminate the tax on your Social Security benefits. This is exactly why retirement income planning goes far beyond just picking investments. It's about how you structure everything so that more of your money stays in your pocket and less of it goes to premiums and taxes. Let me paint a picture of what this looks like when it all comes together. Imagine a couple in their early 60s. They have a mix of IRAs, a 401k, and some personal savings. They're 2 to 3 years away from retirement. The economy is shaky, and they're nervous about timing. They've worked hard and saved well, but they're not sure if what they have built will actually hold up. Here's how a structured retirement income plan changes the picture for them. First, they decide to delay Social Security, not because someone told them to wait, but because the numbers show that waiting even 2 to 3 more years significantly increases their monthly benefit for the rest of their lives. To bridge that gap between retiring and claiming, they use a combination of savings and an income rider on their fixed indexed annuity, giving them income right away without touching their other investments. Second, they reposition a portion of their retirement assets into a fixed index annuity with a GLWB rider. That creates a guaranteed income stream that starts on day one of retirement and continues for the rest of both of their lives, no matter how long they live and no matter what the market does. Third, they work with their advisor to manage their taxable income carefully in the early retirement years, keeping their modified AGI below IRMA thresholds, reducing the tax on their Social Security benefits, and being thoughtful about when and how they take distributions. The result? A retirement where the bills are always covered, where a bad market year is disappointing, not devastating, where they're not forced to sell investments at a loss to pay for groceries or prescriptions, and where they can actually enjoy their retirement without watching the financial news with a knot in their stomach. This is not a fantasy. This is what a properly structured income floor does. Here's the truth I want to leave you with today. In an uncertain economy, the retirees who feel most secure are not necessarily the ones with the most money. They're the ones with the most guaranteed income. They're the ones who took the time to build a plan that does not depend on the market cooperating. And that kind of plan is available to you, regardless of where you're starting from. If you'd like to learn more, take a look at the free booklet called Retire Smart. It's linked on the page in the description box. And if this video gave you something useful to think about, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. We put out new content every week on retirement income planning, Social Security strategy, Medicare, and everything in between, without the financial jargon. This is Retirement Security Simplified, where we specialize in turning confusion into confidence, one conversation at a time.